What's up, y'all? Move this up the way. I am back for another video. I was going to review Super Cop today. I'm still gonna do that this week. I'm gonna push that to Wednesday. Seeing as I did my Scream 5 spoiler review, I decided I'm gonna do. I felt like it would have made more. It makes more sense to continue on with the Scream 5 theme. I'm doing my updated franchise ranking, which is gonna be easy as fuck. And then tomorrow, if I'm in the mood tonight, but it'll probably be tomorrow morning, I'll do my basically it's gonna be a fixing slash my pitch for my version of Scream 5 because what we got was really disappointing. So, but the Scream franchise is a franchise I've watched since I think it was like 10 years, 10 or 11, and I really got into it. And I until this one, I've enjoyed all of them. Yeah, they some are better than others. Number one's gonna be easy. It's gonna be the first one. But I do think up until this newest one, I really enjoyed them all. So, but I wanted since this one came out, I felt like I had to get my updated ranking out there. So, besides that, um, so I'm gonna take my hit first before we get started. But so we're going to work our bottom up, and number 5 is this is gonna be easy. Scream 5, this newest one. Like I mentioned in my spoiler review, and I'm not gonna go too into it because my god, I could make this video another 30 minutes and going off on this movie. My main issue with 5 was, I guess, look at the positives out the way. There were some okay kills. I did like the opening, but that was about it. Like, some kills were decent and the opening was good. But then they decided to go this toxic fandom direction. And that's not even my main issue with the movie. My main issue was, one, it was a bait and switch. You wasted Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox, to be honest. I don't think either of them needed to be in this movie. Maybe you keep Dewey. I think Dewey's death was... It's a mix... Dewey's death even's a mixed bag. I think him dying did get a feeling, but it's also like... You kind of had to make Dewey stupid to do it, so it almost brings it down. You should have just went with new characters. I don't get what... Like, this was a Force... They pulled a Force Awakens. And ultimately, I can't forgive that. This franchise... Sydney was such a great character. She was not needed in this movie. If that's what you're going to do with her, to be honest, you should have just left her out. If this was what we were going to be waiting basically 12 years, because it's been about, well, not 12 years, 11 years since Scream 4 came out. And that's what you do? This is what we waited for? No, just in my head, I'm going to constantly say this. 4 is the true ending. I just don't. This movie is like someone's idea if they decided, I want what I'm going to do with Scream 5. Because to me, this doesn't honor Wes. It doesn't fit. How the fuck did Billy have a daughter? The soap opera writing is what truly hurts it. The fact that everyone's just related. The reveal being easily the worst reveal in the franchise. Like, some of the other there have been reveals in the franchise that I thought weren't great. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Mrs. Loomis. I think Roman's could have been a bit better, and Jill's, but they were still executed fine. This was just bad all around. Richie and Amber being revealed as the killers just did nothing. At that point, it was such a letdown. The whole movie's a letdown, so definitely the worst in last place. Number 4 is Scream 4. As much as I have a soft spot for this film, it's the first Scream I saw in theaters, and I definitely liked it I like it, but I do think there are issues. Whereas I just think 3, which is, I guess, my number 3, is going to be a theme running. But Scream 4, I think there is a lot of good. I really like Sydney's arc in this film. I thought some of her the calls with Ghostface were fucking great. But Jill, you should have recasted. Emma Roberts just did not do it for me. She was not believable. The hospital scene was just, every time I watch this movie, I always cringe. I love the kills in this, and it's understandable when I get to Scream 3. It was cool to have the violence back because Scream 3, and it's understandable why Scream 3 had to tone down the violence, but still, it's so this was a decent return, and I think 4 does kind of work as that ending for Sydney, Gale, and Dewey. I think it's such a solid endpoint, so that's why I do like it. There is definitely some minor things I don't like. I think the final act could be done better, but overall, it's not a bad entry. It works as the final arc if you like this movie. So, but overall, Scream 4 is a great one, or a good one. Now number 3. Number 3 is Scream 3. This one, the reason I put it a bit above Scream 4 is because I think it has a stronger ending. And if you're a person who doesn't like 4, this could actually work as the true end if you didn't like 4. I'm fine with 4, but I get people who don't. And I understand the circumstances. I think that's another reason I don't go too hard at this film. I understand the circumstances this film was put in because this film was shooting in 1999, and while it was shooting, Columbine happened. That's why they had to change the script because originally it was gonna be Stu. It was gonna be back in Woodsboro. There was gonna have to be a whole scene, I think a whole kill scene at the school. But it's understandable why they had to change it, and unfortunately, due to that, Columbine and everybody was blaming pop culture. I mean, Marilyn Manson got blamed for the shooting. I think they just felt like, okay, we're gonna tone down. That's why you notice a lot of the kills were not that great. It was just kind of quick stabs and throat slits. It's nothing crazy. Even though in that department isn't great, I do think it does tie the first two together perfectly, and it's like this original trilogy ending in a way. And in 4 can still exist, but I do like it for that, and I do think the final act's pretty fun. I think you have some solid characters, even though it's a bit more comedic in tone compared to the other ones. But I like Scream 3. I've always did. I think it has a kick-ass soundtrack, especially if you're someone like me who loves rock and new metal and alternative. It has a pretty good soundtrack. So I think all around Scream 3 is a solid film. So now to number 2, Scream 2. Scream 2 to me is an example of how to do the perfect sequel. You have solid kills. I think the opening is not as iconic as Drew Barrymore's in Scream 1, but I really do like it. You have big name actors at the time. Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett were pretty big names, especially Omar Epps. He was in several movies by this point. And I really like the theater opening. The Mickey reveal could have been done better. I think the problem I have is not necessarily Mickey; it's more Mrs. Loomis. My fundamental issue with her reveal is gonna always be, she ran out on her kid. I don't give a fuck if her father cheated. I mean, her husband anyway. Her husband, Billy's father, cheated. That doesn't mean that you're still a shitty mom if you run out on your kid because of it. You either try to fight for custody or just do 50-50 parenting and just don't deal with the father anymore in that sense. I think there's so much that. It just doesn't work. And I get it was supposed to be an homage to Mrs. Voorhees, but Mrs. Voorhees genuinely loved Jason. That's why that worked. For me, Mrs. Loomis just doesn't work. And there's not enough development with her character because she's playing as Debbie Salt. But just minus all that, Scream 2 is a perfect sequel. You have solid characters. I think Mickey's a good addition to the franchise. I think Dewey has a good arc. Randy has some good scenes. I think the only real negative is Derek. Um, as much as I like Jerry O'Connell as an actor, he just doesn't fit this movie to me. I've always, and this is more recent years, I've noticed this. It wasn't when I didn't really notice this when I first watched the movie, but when I watch it now, or in like recent, within like the last year or two, I think I've noticed this. The character just doesn't work for me. I think the character Derek could work if he had a different actor. Jerry O'Connell just feels like he's playing a character in a different movie, and that fucking lunch scene where he's singing to Sid is cringe. It feels like a totally different film. The only like justification is when he gives Sydney the letter so he can get kidnapped. But that's like the only thing. The rest of the movie, I think, though, is really good. I love Cotton. I think his little role. I think the only other big negative is Randy's death. My thing is, it's not necessarily killing Randy, it's killing him in the middle of the film the way they did. He just gets yanked in a van and just stabbed. And then that's it. I just think if you're going to kill him in the end. Give him a big death or something in the final act. I don't know. But overall, Scream 2 is a great sequel. That chase scene between Ghostface and Gale in the theater room is really good. It's probably one of my favorite chase scenes in the franchise for sure. So I genuinely love this movie. So this is how you do a sequel. So then number one is pretty obvious. Is the first Scream. Nothing could, in my opinion, could top the first Scream. The first Scream is is such a legendary film. That iconic opening with Casey Becker, Drew Barrymore is so good. The call, Roger L. Jackson's voice. That opening is how you subvert expectations. Ryan Johnson. Just that whole sequence is so good. And then when her parents come home, and Nev Campbell had a great performance in it, and I grew to love her character. And that's one of the big reasons I loved up until five. I really liked her arc. This is her arc in those four movies. You see her grow, and in this you see her beginning. Like even before the movie, her characters already went through shit. You know, like her mom was murdered the year before. She had a stand trial, and then now she's being attacked. Like it's like so much shit she's went through in a year, and that's even before we technically see her in the film. Like that's because Wes Craven wrote this movie perfectly. The homages to other movies. I mean, fuck, this film loves Halloween, which is one of the reasons I'm a big Halloween fan. Is Scream. I'm gonna always give Scream that props for making me the big of a Halloween fan I am, or the big Halloween fan I am now. But Randy's a great character. The scene where he gives out the rules is so good. Just all around. I said it a lot in my review, but Scream 1 is a great film. It's a perfect film. I think it's a perfect slasher, but it's a perfect film all around. There's nothing wrong with it. All the characters are great. Just, yeah. This changed because slashers at this point were kind of dead in terms of, because you got a lot, like, couple bad sequels, like, Jason Goes to Hell. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is pretty good, but I still don't think that was enough to bring people back, and a lot of people didn't like Halloween 6, even though I did. So, just the slasher franchise was in like a weird area, so Scream like rejuvenated it. So that's why the first Scream is gonna always be a classic. So yeah, this updated ranking was fucking easy because 5 was such a disappointment. So, but all around, I still love the franchise, even though there's one kind of film that kind of sticks out. But definitely, all around, I think it's a really good franchise. I mean, up until 4 movies being pretty good is still even rare. So, either to later today, if I'm in the mood, or tomorrow in morning, I will be doing my pitch slash. It'll be a fixing slash pitch for Scream. For fixing Scream 5, because in my opinion there's so much directions, and I think what I'm going to do is I'll do two versions. There's going to be one where I'll do it with Sydney, because I think if you're gonna, I do think you can use that character if you're gonna bring her back. You gotta bring her back and actually have her do something. And then I'm gonna do a version where I'll talk about a version. I'll kind of like go back and forth, and then one is gonna just be with strictly new characters because I think that's another area you can do. You have four be the end for Sydney, Gale, and Dewey. You just focus on new characters, but it's the movie still exists. So there's so much directions they could have gone, and I would have taken it way in a direction not where they took it. So I'll be talking about that either later today if I'm in the mood. If I do it today, it'll be super late, but it'll probably be tomorrow because it's already like almost 9 o'clock. But we'll see. Other than that, um, tomorrow I will be reviewing Death Proof, which is I initially thought because I think I got it confused with Planet Terror, but that's a Tarantino movie, so I'm gonna be reviewing that tomorrow, and then Wednesday I'll be doing Super Cop. So, but other than that, I'm gonna peace out. Fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. Fuck LaBitch James. Fuck Seth Rogen. Fuck Joy Reid. Fuck Kevin Smith. And fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Or later. Peace.